Welcome after the break, as excited as I am. I'm talking to Taz from Stereo Nation. Okay, Johnny Z, when did you decide to, Johnny Z, I'm going to become, Taz?
Well, actually, it was 1996 when basically the Bollywood ripped off my very first song, which when in the film Mohabbat, the song they called it "Don't Break My Heart." The actual song was called "Lal Lal Buliyan," which we released on Roma Records back in the day in '94. And I kind of, I wanted to sort of like, it was a breath of fresh air, just, a reinvention of myself. I kind of grown up a lot. Matured, I had a lot more experience.
There was a bit of a break as well, wasn't it, between coming back and...
There was a break, and it was really intense. I mean, I'd toured extensively. I'd done a lot of stuff, and I got away from it, reinvented myself, and wanted to come back in a fresh way. At the time, I was working with DJ Kendall, and we had our first British chart hit in the charts in top 40 in 97. 97, that's right, So that's when Stereo Nation was born.
Okay, I mean, I want you to give us a couple of lines, please, if you don't mind. First, I want I think, I think we definitely want a couple of lines. And we'll talk about La La Buliyan as well, because I think that's you've talked about it in sort of like washed it away, but I think it was a huge thing that happened to you. So could you just give us a bit of,
तुम भी वजदी वजदी हाय ढोल वजदा हाय ढोल वजदा हो अज गिद्धियां च नच के मैं पाना भंगड़ा नी अज पाना भंगड़ा हो अज गिद्धियां च पाना ही भंगड़ा हुन तां मैं नचना नचना सोहणिया ही सज्जना सज्जना अज नहीं हटना हटना लांजी आई मेरेया.
Awesome, absolutely awesome, and you still sound just as good as you did then as well. That's absolutely brilliant. Okay, the track, Kumar Sanu sang it. Was it? I think it was Kumar Sanu ji. La La Buliyan. I mean, it was a huge track for you as well.
Yes.
When it came out.
It was.
And then, how did you feel when I always say, because lots of other people sat in and their tracks have been ripped off as well. What was the feeling like then?
I think I had very mixed reactions. I mean, first of all, because obviously, see, we live in a country where copyright is protected and respected. So, to be very honest with you, I mean, anger at the first instance, but in the same breath, I'm one of these persons that basically loves to, I'd rather change the negative to the positive, and I'm a very positive person, so I kind of used it to my advantage as a launch pad. I mean, it became huge. The funny thing is, when Indian audiences around the world and in India, when they got to know what the original was, it just went through the roof, and we sold millions and millions of albums. It was launched in India, and it was...
was there something inside you, though, you thought, well, I could have sang that, or they could have used the original, or something like that? Because I think that was maybe the transformation of Bollywood coming into the Bhangra kind of era with that kind of track, and that kind of singing as well, because your singing style is different. It's not hardcore Bhangra or hardcore Punjabi. So they kind of ripped your style off, which is still used today as well.
Yes, it is. And I mean, for me personally, I mean, I kind of felt that, yes, you're 100% right. I wish why didn't they just pick up the phone and call me? Obviously, Bollywood is full of plagiarism, and it's the way they do things. But you can't knock them as well in the same breath, because it gave me that platform and that spring to basically launch myself on a massive international global scale.
Was there a bit of fear in you, though, Taz, that maybe thinking, well, Johnny Z was there, Johnny Z, the name was known, and now I'm going to go to Taz. Taz is short for Tarsim? Tarsim. And you thought, well, I'm going to go into this. So I know you said, take on a challenge, living on the edge when you started Stereo Nation. Was there a bit of fear, though, thinking that, well, people knew Johnny? What will be the response with Taz?
I kind of... I didn't have any inhibitions. I really didn't. I was very confident about myself, and I was thinking, well, guess what? If people, if they're following what I do, which is my music, they're going to follow me regardless. I think that having sort of built this brand of Johnny Z for many, many years, and then, you know, it's a big decision to make, you know, to suddenly just switch. So it didn't really give me any ambitions, or, you know, I didn't have any reservations about it. I just launched into it with full, absolute conviction.
Yeah, and I think you were blessed in that as well, because, you know, Johnny Z was a hit, and then Taz became a hit. Okay, tell us about Stereo Nation. Obviously, a huge, huge band. People saw you as a band. You came out with one of the biggest albums, Jambo. You know, again, I really loved that album, and I think maybe it was under the banner of Stereo Nation that you became more international, maybe rather than with Johnny Z. So tell us about the compiling of Stereo Nation.
I think, see, Stereo Nation was, and I think a lot of people get this confused. You know, they say, oh no, but Stereo Nation was you and DJ Kendall. I mean, DJ Kendall was and part of Stereo Nation, like I mean, for example, I've got a 15-piece band now, you know, that I use occasionally. So it's more about the music. It's about what the music represents. So it was all about doing a lot of experimentation, getting in the studio and evolving this sound, and defining what I was actually trying to do. And you know, the heartbeat of it really is that it boils down to great catchy pop songs, you know, that, you know, again, elemented the springboard into Bollywood. You know, and then, I mean, I was the first artist to break Bollywood as well.
I mean, that's what I was going to say as well. The sound, the style, you know, where did that come from? Did you sit one day and thought, right, okay, I'm going to go with, again, it was a different sound from the Johnny Z days, maybe, when you became Stereo Nation. Or was it just everybody's input, the band's input, or the people around you? Because Simon and Diamond were kind of involved as well, huge producers in their own right as well. So how did you all decide on that this is the sound we're going to go with, and this is going to be pushed forward?
When I first entered the industry, before I launched myself and said, right, this is the direction in life that I want to go, I mean, I don't recommend this, but I jacked my degree in for this, so my father didn't talk me for 5 years, God bless. But, you know, the thing is, I wanted
it's kind of self-conviction though, isn't it?
It is.
And I think you have to make that choice. You know, I apologize for interrupting you, but I think you have to make that choice that if you are going to go down this path, then I think it's important to go with it fully hearted.
Absolutely, you know, absolutely. And I kind of said to myself, you know, if I'm going to do something, I want to be the best, and I want to be different to everybody else. I want to do something that nobody else has achieved. So hence the reason why, you know, I mean, I will say, you know, I'm very proud of being that pioneer that created that genre of music, which is now being, you know, embraced by everybody, and everybody's doing their versions of what I did a long time ago. And, you know, the point is that as far as Bollywood is concerned, you know, they embraced it in such a big way because it was so unique and so different. In terms of the style and how I came to that conclusion, I think that's all to do with the fact that, you know, the kind of music I grew up with. You know, I grew up with folk music, Punjabi folk music, and I grew up with Bollywood music. And then from there, I kind of, you know, I really listened in hard and studied, seriously studied Motown. And that was a massive influence on me. And I was always a firm believer in one thing, and you know, you can make you know, the melody of a song and the lyric is all that matters. You can, you know, you can fly it up and put different beats on it. You can do this and you can do that. If you've got a great song, you can sit on a piano, you can get an acoustic guitar, and you can strum it, and it's still going to sound great. Yeah.
So melody and beat, you said. So what about the actual
melody and lyric?
Lyrics. I was going to say your lyrical contact. You know, you listen to your songs. It isn't always, you know, it doesn't have a proper kind of a songy, Punjabi songy, or even a Hindi songy feel to it. By that I mean it doesn't have an astai and an antara. And sometimes you feel that, you know, maybe Taz has just stuck these, and they fit perfectly, so I won't, you know, knock you on that. But it does mean that, you know, sometimes lat kite, ba kite, but you do, it's one of those, you know, one of those twister games kind of thing with the lyrics.
I kind of feel that, you see, my school of training, for want of a word, my training ground, is from a traditional mainstream pop structure. Do you know what I mean? Which is very different to a, you know, the stai and the antara and the da-di-da and da-di-da, which is the Indian way of, you know, constructing a song is obviously very different. You have a lot of different, you know, music piece 1, music piece 2, music piece 3, and generally, you know, they land at about 6 minutes long. Whereas I believe that the ideal pop song, if it's going to touch people, is going to touch people in the first few seconds, and it shouldn't be any more than 3.5 minutes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Unless it's absolutely necessary. So yes, my training, my school training was from traditional mainstream pop composition in that way. You know what I mean?
And keeping it simple.
And structuring and keeping things simple, because it's the simplest things that work.
Yeah. You talked about Motown. I mean, last week we talked about Michael Jackson as well. Were you a fan? Were you a fan?
Absolutely.
Of Michael? You know, we can't talk, and people might think, you know, it's a Punjabi show, Bhangra show, whatever. But I think it's one of those music people who touched everybody's heart, and even people in the band knew Michael Jackson Wangu dance. It's true, though, isn't it?
It was a devastating loss. I mean, for me personally, he was an iconic, he's one of my heroes. Grew up with his music, very heavily influenced by him as well in the early days, in the Johnny Z days. You know, I've done so many interviews with reference to Michael, and you know, you know, he was a rainbow of inspiration, a master of execution, and an amazing performer. And we are going to miss him.
What's your favourite Michael Jackson track, if you could?
Don't Stop Till You Get Enough.
Can you sing that?
Huh?
Can you sing that?
No.
Just like Michael Jackson. There you go, Michael Jackson. I'm talking to Taz from Stereo Nation. We're going to go to a short break, and after that, I want him to sing for us a little bit more, so we'll be back after this.